Hey guys, I'm Oriday, and in this video I'm going to attempt to beat Resident Evil 4 with the Killer 7 only. Now I know I've done a similar challenge before with the Broken Butterfly. They're both Magnum, so it's not surprising you'd expect both challenges to be similar, but there are two things that made me decide to go for it. First, I played the Broken Butterfly only one on normal mode, so that could have made the challenge easier because I think the enemies have lower HP and the game is more generous with random ammo drops on normal mode. And second, the free Broken Butterfly that you can get with Ashley's help gives you double the capacity upgrades and therefore double the amount of ammo from the merchant, until it's maxed out of course, but it still helps for a bit. As always, I would not be allowed to stun or kill enemies using any other weapon but the Killer 7. However, I would be allowed to knife crates, barrels, and vases. I would also be allowed to upgrade the firepower of the Killer 7, but only as upgrades are made available through the course of the game. Capacity upgrades are fair game though. So with all that said, let's get right into it. Now I decided that I would pick up and keep all the handgun ammo that would come my way in this playthrough because I figured staying maxed out on handgun ammo would make the game more inclined to give me Magnum ammo, and I needed all the help I could get. But it seemed like the game had other plans. I kept getting a lot of cash but no ammo, so it was almost like the game was trying to tell me that it couldn't help me with my ammo situation, but it would at least try to fund my capacity upgrades. I did eventually find 3 Magnum bullets in this barrel, so that was a start. Not surprisingly, the Killer 7 made short work of the first giant, and despite having 7 shots left over in the gun, I decided to just let Luis do all the killing as usual while I ran around trying not to get hit, unsuccessfully of course. But some random ganado actually dropped 3 Magnum bullets here, which I was not expecting at all, so I was really excited about that. I didn't think the enemies could drop Magnum ammo because I'd never seen it happen before, not even in my Broken Butterfly only run, but I guess they can. I used the 7 shots in the gun against the ganados and the gondola ride, but it wasn't enough for all of them, and I obviously wasn't going to reload from my inventory, so I had to just stand there and take hits from the last few. This would have been a great time for Ashley to crouch in fear, but God forbid her AI does anything to help the player. Anyway, unsurprisingly, the Killer 7 also made short work of the big cheese, and I headed to the castle with 6 Magnum bullets in my inventory, which is 6 more than I expected to have, so it was looking pretty good for me so far. Now I knew I would need at least 7 bullets for the water room, but I didn't want to waste the 3 bullets left in my gun after getting rid of Skullboy and Catapult Eye. So I went ahead and dealt with the Galador in 2 shots and then backtracked my way to the merchant so that I could sell and rebuy the Killer 7 for the water room. Which wasn't so bad this time, but I have crappy aim and Magnum bullets are too precious to miss, so I had to restart from checkpoint a couple of times while watching out for Ashley. By the way, I thought I'd show you guys a sped up clip of how I handle the water room without wasting ammo in these challenge runs in case you're interested. I don't shoot at all up until it's time to protect Ashley. The speedy goat guy took 4 shots to defeat, which is quite a lot now that I think about it. And before heading to the garden maze, I found 3 more Magnum bullets in this barrel, so the game was being a lot more generous than I'd expected. So then it was time to watch out for Ashley again, and I managed to free her from the restraints without accidentally killing her even once, which is pretty rare for me because Leon's unsteady hands plus my crappy aim usually equal a very dead Ashley. Over here I decided not to use the lanterns as usual since the lanterns aren't Killer 7s. The night room was by far the easiest to deal with in this challenge than it had been in all the other challenges I've attempted. And just when I thought the game couldn't possibly give me any more random Magnum ammo drops, it did just that in this crate at the clock tower. Not surprisingly, the Killer 7 made short work of the dual Garadors, and then it was time to face Vertigo. Or more like one from him, which is exactly what I did until the elevator showed up. And for the second time in this playthrough, I got 3 magnum bullets from an enemy drop. That plus the 5 in this barrel meant that I was now up to 28 magnum bullets in my inventory. Now the dual giants is where I thought I would have to reload from my inventory for the very first time in this playthrough, but apparently not. It took 13 shots to defeat him, so I still had a bullet left in the gun by the end of it. The minecart ride was crowded, to say the least, and I ended up having just enough bullets in the Killer7 to deal with the cargo lift. Not surprisingly, the Killer7 made short work of Salazar 2, and I made it to the island portion of the game where I could finally upgrade the firepower of the Killer7 to 35. After dealing with these guys, I had 5 shots left in the gun, so I thought I'd unload all of them into the iron meeting with the keycard and then go get a capacity upgrade from the merchant to finish it off. But the damage you do doesn't stick if you leave the room, so that was pretty annoying. And U3 was where I had to reload from my inventory for the very first time in this playthrough, which wasn't surprising since I only had 8 shots in the Killer7 after the cargo cage bit. What was surprising, however, was the fact that it took 21 shots to defeat it at a firepower of 35, and it only took 12 shots from the rifle at a firepower of 30. I'm guessing the rifle is better against U3 than magnums, but anyway, that left me with 30 magnum bullets in my inventory going in to fight Krauser, who ended up needing only 12 bullets to defeat. No surprises there. At this point, I was fairly confident that I could beat the game with the Killer7 only, and maybe even have some leftover ammo in my inventory for once. Which is pretty much how it turned out. For the fight with Sadler, I went in with a fully upgraded Killer7 and 50 magnum bullets in my inventory, which is way more than I ever expected to have. After blowing out the eyes on his front legs, I unloaded the rest of my shots into his body because the eyes on his back legs are hard to reach. I did have to make use of the steel girders and the explosive barrels, and that left me with 2 shots in the Killer7 plus 10 spare bullets and a bunch of health items in my inventory, so it was definitely a lot better than my previous challenges. But that brings the question, is it possible to beat Resident Evil 4 with the Killer7 only? The answer is yes, but just barely. I got lucky with ammo drops and kept up a 100% accuracy up until Sadler, but this was still a pretty fun challenge, and I highly recommend you try it out for yourself if you feel like replaying Resident Evil 4, but with a bit of a fun twist. The Killer7 makes short work of just about everything but Sadler, so this challenge wasn't nearly as frustrating as some of the other challenges I've attempted. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.